If you'd like to bring more peace and intention into your life, have improved meditation practices, and have more community and love in your life, then today's interview with Snatam Kaur will be one you'll want to listen to. Welcome to Thriving Launch with Louise Congdon and Kamala Chambers, the show for heart-centered entrepreneurs who want it all.
5 days a week, we bring you different segments to inspire you to live a life of freedom. We interview the leading experts in the field of business, health, and love. Be sure to check out Training Tuesdays, where we give you a clear action plan to grow your own business. Maybe you can relate to this. When I was a full-time coach, keep repeating the same things to people over and over and over again, and it got to be kind of draining, and I wasn't really enjoying what I was doing anymore. So what I decided to do was record the things that I had to tell clients over and over and over again, and then I packaged those recordings together and sold them as an online course. If you're interested in creating and selling your own online course, head over to thrivinglaunch.com, and I have a free training for you on how to create and make passive income through your own online course. Snatam Kaur is an American singer, peace activist, and author raised in the Sikh and Kundalini yoga traditions. She's been asked to sing at retreats by Oprah and many other people. She's got an amazing voice, and we're excited to have her on the show.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Here we are with Snatam Kaur. Welcome to the show. Are you ready to launch?
I think so.
It's really amazing to have you here. For years, when I worked at a spirituality bookshop, I listened to your music playing in the background, and it always kept me very present, very full of intention while I worked. And I remember having many blissful experiences to your music during meditations, during yoga, and one particular experience after I had gone and seen Amaji, the hugging saint who's hugged millions of people on the planet. And after going to her event, I was just lit up. I'd never been lit up like that before. I was just in this incredible space. And driving home, I listened to your whole CD and felt so blissful. I feel like you put so much intention and energy and love into your music.
Yeah, it is actually my spiritual practice. It's part of my growth, my personal growth. And, the music and the chanting is deeply woven into how I support myself, how I heal, how I get inspired. So I feel really grateful to be able to have the music as a form of creative expression, but then to have this sense of the healing capacity within the music has become really important to me. And I kind of forgot about how healing the music can be and the purpose of it. I mean, I've always known, but recently we were just in Brussels for a concert there. And the concert organizer told me that, the concert would probably be about 85% full, but she was super happy about this because many concerts in the city were either being canceled or were 50% full because people were just afraid to come out because of the terrorist attacks that were happening. And, I admit to, when we got on stage, I admit to feeling a little bit worried about this and sensing that in the audience as well. When we dove in to the chanting, to the music, it just became so clear to me how important it was for these people and who had been through such a traumatic experience to really experience the power of mantra. And so it really helped me to focus in a very deep way. And I'm so grateful for that experience that I had because it kind of recalibrated my focus. And the concert itself was totally healing for me in my own heart in the situation. And I felt for the people that had come. And it was really through this chanting, these sacred chants. And I kind of liken it to You don't have to have some sort of like incredible skill, or you don't have to have been blessed by a saint or have some sort of miracle happen to have this deep healing process. You can just recite these sacred words and you can get healed. And I've seen it happen time and time again. And I think that, a lot of people may not realize how simple and how easy it is, and how accessible the mantras are. And it's hard. You get kind of mixed up in all sorts of other thoughts about, well, can I do this? Is it some sort of religion? And the fact of the matter is that these chants, because of my teacher, Yogi Bhajan, are available to people of all walks of life. And we can, in our sacred traditions, share with each other and go back to these ancient roots, these ancient traditions, and honor them, and also bring them to the forefront of our toolkit for how we can heal ourselves.
That's really beautiful, and I absolutely love that. Now, just to kind of help the audience understand, I know some of you know what the word mantra is, and some of you maybe don't. So what does that word mantra mean?
Well, mantra means, man means the soul, the body, the mind. It's how all of these are connected. It's the being, and tra is the projection of that. So the projection of the mind. And with mantra, you have the capacity to go above and beyond time and space and go to the projective prayer for your soul. Now, you can have mantras that bring you down, like you can project yourself into a rut, basically, of I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy, where you repeat and you repeat and you repeat, and then this becomes the frequency of your mind, which becomes the frequency of your words and then your actions, and it's all connected. But what we do in the Kundalini Yoga and Sikh tradition is utilize powerful mantras that have been recited by beings in a state of enlightenment who brought themselves to a state of union with the divine through these words, through the technology of using these specific combinations of sounds. So we utilize those same sounds and go through we traverse through the same pathways of enlightenment of the original reciter. And then of all of the reciters that have taken part in reciting that sacred mantra along the way. And then we recite it and contribute to that energy for the future generations to come. So it's like this healing wheel that happens. And these sacred mantras work to cleanse your consciousness. Oftentimes people will experience when they're chanting a sacred mantra, like actual fears coming up. Even anger can come up because it's a cleansing process. And the trick is to allow those emotions to come forward and to lay them at the feet of the mantra, to let go of them into the experience of the mantra.
Really, really beautiful. One thing that I found when I was going to school for sound healing, that we spent one day repeating these 7 mantras, and the whole day was just saying these mantras, and it was quite a journey, just repeating the same word over and over and over again, and the experience kind of opened and expanded. And what mantras do you recommend, or what mantras do you find can really tap people into powerful experiences?
Well, I have different experiences with mantras in different times in my life, just depending on what I'm going through and what's calling to me for healing. And in the Kundalini Yoga tradition, we learn about mantras, to help in your capacity and relationship with your beloved, mantras to help you to become a more conscious parent, mantras to allow you to let go of fear and anxiety, mantras to help you tap into your truth. So they're all different, so many different mantras. And And it's a lifelong journey for me. I'm happy to, be in this discipline of Kundalini yoga and meditation to be able to explore so much while becoming a teacher and still realizing, oh, I have more to learn. But there's one mantra in particular that I can share with you in this podcast, mostly because I can explain to you the entire meaning of the mantra, and it won't take so long, and we can have maybe an experience of it. So this mantra is Waheguru, Waheguru, Waheguru. Wa is the ecstatic experience of the divine. He is here and now. And Guru is wisdom, that which Gu is darkness and Ru is light. And when we chant Guru, we're taken into the experience of wisdom, which it understands and knows the dark and the light and comes to consciousness anyway, in the midst of that. So Guru is that transformational mantra that takes us into awareness. And so we chant Waheguru, Waheguru,
Waheguru.
Yeah. And you can chant it. I chant it actually all the time throughout the day, especially times when I'm doing prayers in the morning. I do a conscious prayer each morning where I intentionalize my prayers for the day, my prayers for my family, prayers for healing, for people that need it, prayers for work, all of those things, prayers for the earth. And then as I'm saying the prayer, for example, today, let me remember God's name, and let me remember my truth, and I'll say Waheguru, 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 Waheguru in my own mind, to allow that prayer to go forward and to let go of my resistances to that prayer manifesting, and also to allow it to be in the divine will, that it's really God's divine will that prevails at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day or throughout infinity. So Waheguru allows my soul to come into union with that divine will, and adjust the prayer. Say you're praying for something that's not really in the will of the divine, and that Waheguru allows your soul to come into alignment with that will of the divine. So yeah, we can just take a few moments to chant it now if you like.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Yeah, so if you're sitting there in your studio or at home, people are sitting there, I just encourage you to come sitting in easy pose, legs crossed, or if you're sitting in a chair, like both feet on the ground and then having your spine straight, you can close the eyes and just allow the palms to be facing up. There's no special mudra here. I'm just sharing with you the chant, and no special hand posture. I'm just sharing with you the chant itself. You close your eyes and I'll start chanting, and you can join me at any time that you feel inspired. And as we chant, be conscious and aware of letting go of that, the kind of the residues of ego, the residues of resistance, and go into that, the sound current. The sound current can heal us. All right, so let's take a deep breath, and we'll just do it for 3 minutes. Anybody can do 3 minutes of anything. That's what I always say. And yeah, the intention here is just to become one with the divine flow. And any other resistances we're going to let go of. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go. Inhale deeply. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru,
Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. And inhale.
Wow. Your music, that was such a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Wow.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
Did you always know or have a sense that your voice and the musical contribution that you've given to the world, did you always have a sense that it was something kind of extraordinary or special? I listened to a lot of music, loved kirtan music and chants, but your music in particular really does something to me, just as it did then, and it always does when I put it on. And did you always know that about yourself?
Well, I feel like I come from a lineage of teachings and a community of where these sacred sounds are celebrated and shared and vibrated. And I feel like I'm one of many, really. To me, the sound current, as we call, is the Shabad Guru, that the sound, the teacher through sound, the guru through sound. So people have different gurus that they go to. Well, in our tradition, the guru that we go to is actually the sound itself. And whenever I seek solace or advice or healing, that this is the vibration that I go to. And I feel that this vibration can be accessed, can be held, can be honored by anyone who really takes the time, has the discipline to honor the teachings and vibrate the sound. And that's why I'm really passionate now about teaching and sharing. I've started off locally, just within my small community, but I'm praying that opportunity opens up more. And that's also the intention of our concert tours. We do 2 major concert tours every year, and that's a major focus for me, that makes the concert tours so rewarding and beautiful, is that it's an opportunity for me to teach people how to really imbibe this sound. And I really focus on inspiring people to sing and to chant, because that's when the real transformation happens. It doesn't happen from, you can listen to my music in a shop, or music in this genre in a shop or at home, and it's definitely going to uplift the environments. But because of the nature of the mantra and the sound current itself, but the real transformation starts to happen when you actually chant.
I'd love to hear more about how you find that brings people together and how you use music and the chants to create community around you.
Yeah, well, I found that we can have pretty major differences in opinions and approaches to life, and that in chanting and music, all of those differences really become second priority, and then the energy within the chant becomes the first priority. And I find that it's a nice opportunity for healing. It's brought about a lot of healing in my life, and also in times of stress, or when in the community itself, people had difference of opinions in my community, and we were able to come to the power of chant to overcome those differences, to maybe not take things so seriously. I always find that after I've chanted, I'm able to not take things so seriously, and I think that's a big thing. A very wise mentor of mine once said, she said the two most important things in life are to never take yourself too seriously, and to always have the right containers for everything. So
it's really true. It's lovely to have the nice container.
True.
I'm curious about this other part of you that I've been watching start to awaken, because when I first came across your work and music, it was music that deeply impacted me. It brought me to a sense of presence, and in that there was a very clear teaching, or a message, vibration. There was something about it that was very wonderful. And now I've started to notice that you're really going into this teaching space where you're teaching people more, you're speaking out more often. I know that the current elections have you feeling a little bit troubled, and I know that you, before this interview, you were saying, Luis, I really want to share a message about what I'm watching happening in the world currently, and I'd love to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about that and your teaching and your message where you're going now.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think I'll start off with the teaching message, and that came forward for me. I think it's always been a part of me because I grew up with the teachings of Kundalini Yoga and my spiritual teacher, Yogi Bhajan, who, one time I sat with him, and I had a successful CD that came out, my first album, and he said to me, so I hear you want to be a singer, because I really wanted to get out and tour, and now with this album. And I said, yeah, I really want to be a singer. I really want to do this. And he said, well, you got to remember one thing, and that's that you are never just a singer. You're a teacher also. And so that really impacted me at that moment. And then a few years ago at a concert, after we'd finished and we had this concert experience, a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, that was so wonderful. When are you coming back? And I realized at that moment that I wouldn't be able to come back for a couple of years. I told her a couple of years. She looked so disappointed. She said, oh God, I got so much healing out of the chanting, but you're not going to be back for 2 years. It was in that moment that I realized that I really needed to get busy to teach, to come into that space of teaching, so that people wouldn't be relying on me, or anyone else for that matter, for their sense of empowerment through chanting. And so that inspired a whole book. I wrote a book, which was a huge surprise to me that would ever manifest. But I wrote a book about what feeds and inspires my chanting how my life has been shaped is through this morning practice that I do every morning that includes a wake-up routine, a recitation, yoga, chanting, and then a prayer and a sacred reading. And I realized that it didn't matter what your walk of life was or anything, that these were basic tools that could be applied, that could be brought into people's lives, that could give them this sense of empowerment through chanting. And so I made 2 CDs and this book, and it's called Original Light. And I'm in the process now of an online course called Life Guided by Light to help people with the book. And actually people can still sign up for that, because all of the courses are being videotaped and they'll be available for infinity time. But the idea is to help people, because it's not just chanting, it's not just understanding the words. It's actually that, I take a cold shower in the morning. That really helps my circulation. I practice yoga, which really helps the energy flow and the capacity to carry the sacred chants. I also eat I try to eat what I feel is a healthy diet. So the body vessel is really important for those sacred chants to come alive on the planet. And then there's the intention and focus, where it's what's your intention, what's your focus, and connecting with your spirit and making the practice go deeper than the mind can fathom or can even project for. And there are all these tools that basically my teacher Yogi Bhajan taught me, along with others as well, that I wrote a book about and shared my experiences with that intention for that woman at that concert, and for everyone feeling like, I just want to connect. I want to feel empowered. I don't necessarily want to have to go to a yoga class at a yoga center or have to go to a workshop and fly across the country, or that I can obtain these tools and skills to have the experience right within my own home and community. And that's the whole focus right now for me. I'm super excited to be able to provide music for this kind of level of teaching. It's actually a dream come true. I never wanted to be a performing artist in the sense that I was performing for the sake of performance. I wanted to inspire people to feel connected to the mantras in their own hearts and souls, because I had such a deep healing experience with them that I wanted to share that. And so now that dream is coming true, that prayer is coming true.
We live in such a beautiful time that is possible, and it's such a gift that you're putting your work into a way that makes it way more accessible for people all around the world. In whatever situation or place they're in, they can have it from their home. They can access it anytime, and they don't have to go way out of their way. To me, that's just something so incredibly special. What I absolutely love about your work, and it's been such an honor to have you on the show today, what I love about what you do is it is about bringing people together, bringing people into the heart, utilizing music, the voice, and presence as a way to have people join in a way that creates extra peace, extra awareness, enlightenment, and really brings people together. I've really appreciated your time here today. I know that everybody here at Thriving Launch has really loved your company, your words, your chanting, and really want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for coming on the Thriving Launch podcast.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to the Thriving Launch podcast. For books and resources related to today's episode, make sure to head over to thrivinglaunch.com. We'll see you there. Be sure to tune in to the next episode where we talk about how to make money while traveling. It's going to be a special episode with just Luis and I. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate us on iTunes and subscribe.